Just to let you know, we're recording this and we'll put it on our YouTube channel afterwards. That's okay with you.
Oh yeah, sure. Whatever you want to do. Let's see. I want to put the full screen. Beautiful. Grüß Gott, meine Damen und Herren. You can hear me well?
Yep.
Okay. So I would like to okay. So let me look at the faces, see what my audience is like. Very nice. They all look very clean and pious. So we can read from a verse. Where is it? You guys were at Bhagavad Gita 3:30. So translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me, with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship and free from lethargy, fight. And the purport Prabhupada says this verse clearly indicates the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita. The Lord instructs that one has to become fully Krishna conscious to discharge duties, as if in military discipline. Such an injunction may make things a little difficult. Nevertheless, duties must be carried out with dependence on Krishna, because that is the constitutional position of a living entity. We're going to go back, so you don't have to try to remember much. Not that you could, but still. The living entity cannot be happy independent of the cooperation of the Supreme Lord, because the eternal constitutional position of the living entity is to become subordinate to the desires of the Lord. Arjuna was therefore ordered by Shri Krishna to fight as if the Lord were his military commander. One has to sacrifice everything for the goodwill of the Supreme Lord, and at the same time discharge prescribed duties without claiming proprietorship. Arjuna did not have to consider the orders of the Lord, yet only to execute his order. The Supreme Lord is the soul of all souls. Therefore, one who depends solely and wholly on the Supreme Lord, Supreme Soul, without personal consideration, or in other words, one who is fully Krishna conscious, is called Adhyatmachitas. Nirashi means that one has to act on the order of the master, but should not expect fruitive results. The cashier may count millions of dollars for his employer, but he does not claim a cent for himself. Similarly, one has to realize that nothing in the world belongs to any individual person, but that everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. That is a real purport Mai, and to me. And when one acts in such Krishna consciousness, certainly he does not claim proprietorship over anything. This consciousness is called nirmama, or nothing is mine. And if there is any reluctance to execute such a stern order, which is without consideration of so-called kinsmen in the bodily relationship, that reluctance thrown off in this way may be without feverish mentality or lethargy. Everyone, according to his quality and position, has a particular type of work to discharge, and all such duties may be discharged in Krishna consciousness as described above. That will lead one to the path of liberation. Magyarnatimidandasya, Nandanachalakaya, Churmaditamjana, the Smai Shri Gurave, Kamkaro, Virajna, Gurmangayati, Yatkipa, Tamaham Bande, Shivuram Vyaka, Paramananda Mahadava, Shri Chaitanya Mishra. So first let's look up word lethargy. Lethargy, according to the dictionary, means a lack of energy and enthusiasm. Also could mean in medicine a pathological state of sleepiness or deep unresponsiveness and inactivity. So fatigue can have causes that they are due to some disease, like lack of sleep, exertion, exercise, large meal, pregnancy, aging, or side effects from medication. Well, that wasn't Arjuna's problem. Arjuna was such a nice guy that didn't want to kill his own family. In general, that's not just a standard of a nice guy that doesn't kill his family. But Arjuna was a warrior, so that's all he did. All his life, all he did was killing people, putting people in their place. In the case of this type of warriors like Arjuna, it only took for people to see him, and that was enough. They just put him in their place. And there are many instances in the Mahabharata where a king or a prince just shows up. There's no fight involved. Everybody it's like when there's a classroom and the kids are throwing stuff to each other, and then all of a sudden the teacher walks in and maybe the things continue. But if the principal comes in, it's over. It's over. Everybody's most serious. So Arjuna, he didn't have to kill that many people. Just by his presence invoke respect. But in this case, there was no arrangement. There was no way to arrive to a diplomatic agreement where there will actually be peace without fighting. So Arjuna did what any nice guy will say, yes, okay, it's my job to fight. But in this case, I feel like my strength has gone away because of thinking of his family, because his grandfather and his uncles and cousins, and his teacher, his martial arts teacher, on the other side. So if he was to do his duty, he had to kill people that he practically or worship, like the case of his martial arts teacher.
Yeah.
But Krishna he wasn't impressed by Arjuna's attitude. He mentioned the word lethargy, like this is uncalled for in a person like you. You should act as any kshatriya, any hero, as Arjuna was, would act. Like if there is a meeting somewhere and there is somebody has a mic on, so please mute it. So Arjuna, just like if there's in a meeting in plain clothes, like this dresses.
Ja. Da war es ja nicht absehbar. Ich habe ja welche vor allen Dingen. Muss sie bloß finden.
It's very distracting. Can you guys still see me? Franca, turn mute to your. So Arjuna was actually acting like a normal, nice guy, trying to be good. But if there is someone who is attacking a meeting of people, and there is a policeman or a soldier there, even if they are not doing job hours and is not dressing in uniform, still should intervene immediately, should deflect any kind of aggression that may take place. So here is Arjuna having to decide if his family, the rest of his family, like Kunti and his brothers and everybody else, all the innocent persons in the kingdom, had to suffer because Arjuna's indecision. In other words, Arjuna said, "Oh, whatever. If they're so attached to ruling, let them take over." But that wasn't the right thing, because he was neglecting everybody else that he loved. He said, "Okay, just I go to meditate in the forest, or I'll go to the Himalayas, but what about the rest of the people? They're going to be subjected to oppression by Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra and all the Shakuni and all the other people." So Arjuna's job wasn't going to be done by someone else. Arjuna had to do it himself. So in this purport, Prabhupada says, the first thing he says is, this verse clearly indicates the purpose of a Bhagavad Gita. And what is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita? Is that one has to discharge one's duties with dependence on Krishna. That is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita is all about duty. It's all about what Arjuna needs to do in order to become Krishna conscious. Because he's a Kshatriya, his duty is not to distribute books or do puja or cook for the devotees. His duty is to kill, to actually protect society. In this case was to fight a difficult battle. And Prabhupada says it's an injunction may make things a little difficult, but you have to do it. That was his duty, and he has to do it because it is our constitutional position, Prabhupada said. That is, we cannot be happy, independence of the cooperation with Supreme Lord. And obviously Krishna's desire was that Arjuna should fight. So one should become subordinate to the desires of Krishna. And also one shouldn't do it with any sense of proprietorship. I'm a tough guy and I can do this. No, it's all dependence on Krishna. Even Bhaktivendanta Swami Prabhupada said one should aspire to become a hero, because the hero of this movie is Krishna. We are very insignificant. Like you think, this. You see the power of something insignificant in this COVID-19, small virus, invisible to the eye, and it's making havoc. And guess what? We are smaller than the virus, much smaller. We can actually, the living entity can go for a long walk inside a virus. That's how small we are. And we think, oh, I'm a tough guy, I own this, or my family, or this or that. We shouldn't have that kind of selfishness, personal consideration, like, this is mine, this belongs to me, I have the right to this. Prabhupada said later in the purport, do not expect fruitive results. We shouldn't be attached to something like, this belongs to me, or this is mine. And I tell you, I'm moving right now. We are moving to Denver, Colorado, which is a nearly 20-hour drive there. And we are trying to consolidate the things to take. And it's amazing how much we have. So honestly, I hope my next move will be to the cemetery, because I can't take another move like this. One has to realize that nothing in the world belongs to any individual person, but everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. This is stated in the Bible as well, like, we come with nothing, we leave with nothing, from dust to dust. And it's true. If you think, so what about the concept of detachment or renunciation? How does it make sense? What are you going to renounce? So you come with nothing, you leave with nothing. So nothing is yours in the meantime. So what are you renouncing, really? What is the meaning of renunciation for a living entity that doesn't really own anything? So the only thing you can renounce is Maya, illusion. This has nothing to do with you. So that's the act of renunciation. Of course, there is different meanings for renunciation and detachment, but this is the one I would like to give based on the purport by Srila Prabhupada. That nothing is mine, nothing, absolutely nothing. Only the birthright to serve Krishna and to love him. So this Prabhupada said will lead one to the path of liberation. And we're not talking about liberation, getting rid of any personal contact. And that's where we seriously fail to understand that we actually many times act as impersonalists. We actually ignore that everyone is a person. Part and parcel of Krishna, yes, but they're not our slaves, or they're not meant for us to enjoy. This is a misconception. We're servants. We're servants. And the connection goes via Krishna. By serving Krishna, you're serving everybody, because everybody is part of Krishna, everybody is within Krishna. But you can't neglect the parts. You can say, well, I'm serving Krishna. This is the characteristic of a neophyte that only sees Krishna, doesn't see the devotees. Krishna is not just Krishna. Prabhupada didn't like posters of Krishna without Radharani, the Gopas, cows, calves, because Krishna's never alone. Krishna is always surrounded by the devotees. So the same instruction is valid for us. It's not just Krishna, it's Krishna and the devotees. We have to understand that Krishna loves the devotees more than he loves himself. That's why he decided to show up as Lord Chaitanya, because he couldn't understand the love of his devotees, particularly Radharani, for him. So he had to actually experience it through Lord Chaitanya, coming as Krishna, but with the feelings of Radharani, because that kind of love he couldn't understand. Why would anybody love me so much? So that's more or less the sum and substance of why we should not neglect the worship of the devotees. And this is a sore topic, because we see many times, we have seen in the past for sure, that the devotees were used. This is a voluntary process. We are not just paid workers. You know, come to the office, come to devotional service for 8 hours, and then we go home. We are actually out of love, out of dedication, out of affection for Krishna and the devotees. We actually agree to participate in this process of Bhakti Yoga. So anyone who is practicing Bhakti Yoga to whatever extent is commendable. And I also think that it is wrong to hold a particular standard for everyone. Obviously, Prabhupada wanted pure devotees, but you know, not everyone's a pure devotee than Brahmins. But not everyone's a Brahmin, so all the other ranges of practitioners of Krishna-consciousness. So we shouldn't hold it against anybody. They cannot keep a certain standard. That's what they can do. That's what they can do. I heard the sentence, that person is doing his best, their best. I heard it many times. But until a few years ago, I didn't sink in really. I always thought, well, yeah, potentially we could do a lot more. Yeah, but potentially, we cannot live based on our potential. Yeah, sure, when I was in elementary school, my teacher thought that potentially I could be president of the world, but that was elementary school, and that was my teacher thinking. But this is what we have to understand, that yeah, there is a potential in everyone to become exalted, pure devotee, etc., etc. But we shouldn't hold them to that standard. We should try to understand what they are capable of doing and try to help them develop whatever little desire they have. And this is the spirit of our movement. We are a missionary movement. We may have forgotten that. Many have forgotten that we are actually a missionary movement. We are actually meant to help everyone, not just do a little bhajan here and there, do a little puja or, do a little reading and just feel happy about yourself being a devotee. A true devotee feels sad about the state of affairs of the world and anyone not practicing Krishna consciousness. So you have to somehow or other, with tact, not just trying to shovel Krishna consciousness down anybody's throat, whether it's by becoming friends or by doing favors or by sharing a meal or whatever it is. We have to actually show that the devotees are special. They're special. They're not ordinary beings, and that people should desire to become like us, not like me, like you. So this is the mission that Prabhupada gave us, to actually spread Krishna consciousness, and it's difficult, but the reward is better. Like if you anything without effort is actually the result is not as satisfying. Like if you're playing football and you play football against a bunch of 5-year-olds and you score a goal, what's the happiness there? You can just push them around and go to the other goal and score, but they're 5-year-olds. So if you play against a strong team and you score a goal, that's good. But if you play chess against a person who learned how to play chess 2 days ago, what's the satisfaction in doing that? If you play against an international grandmaster and you get a tie, or just speak of winning, that is worthwhile. So there is no real satisfaction in this shadow boxing that we do. We actually have to face a real boxer. And Maya is a great boxer. Maya's been a world champ, heavyweight, for as long as the world can remember. And nobody has even landed a punch on Maya, except for the devotees. So this is what we have to do. We have to step into the ring and try to punch Maya into oblivion. But this is with Krishna's help, because Krishna is the heavy. It's the heavy one. It's like someone has a little kid that is bullying others because he has a big brother that is watching from a distance. Or anybody touches him, he comes and intervenes. So this is the idea. We have to protect us. That's how we can face Maya and face the challenges. Because Maya is a pure devotee. She has a terrible job to do, but that's her job. She has to put all entities. She's a pure devotee, and she has to put every devotee into a kind of a zombie-like position where they don't understand where they are, they're dead or alive, who they are, they don't understand anything. So Maya has to keep them. Maya has two energies, avaranatmika and prashipatmika, to cover the living entity and to throw them away. Because once you cover someone with a blanket, you can just grab him and throw him anywhere in the back of a pickup truck. So this is what Maya does, covers and pulls away. So the problem is when the blanket comes off, you're devoid of the association of devotees. So it's very imperative. It's imperative that we actually surround ourselves with good association. This is, I cannot overemphasize the necessity to have good association. You may think, oh, but I'm a devotee, I'm okay. It's like the idea of someone who, what do they say? He who has himself as spiritual master has a fool for a disciple. This is how we should not think that it's enough for us to practice Krishna consciousness. We need others to help us. I started many projects when I was younger, Krishna consciousness, and I always asked my authorities were sending me to some place where there were no devotees and no center, and I had to just figure out how to open a place. I was saying, but what about association? And pretty much most of the time they would tell me, make devotees, and that's how you get association. So we have to consider that we shouldn't feel comfortable. Oh yeah, I live in a community, or I have friends, devotees, and so on. What about the rest? The rest don't have a chance without you. And Krishna will help you if you have the right mentality. Definitely Krishna will help you. You may not have the punch to knock Maya unconscious, but Krishna can do anything. He can change things in a moment. In a moment. There's nothing. Satya Sankalpa, whatever Krishna thinks, it happens. So if you can convince Krishna by your love and your dedication that this world needs to change and everybody has to become happy by practicing Bhakti Yoga, Krishna will listen to it and help you out. Even if your circle of influence is small, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You don't have to conquer the world. You just have to help a little bit at a time. So you meet someone at the grocery store and start a conversation. Give them something to, give them some percent. Just be friendly. Make them interested. Make them think. Make them think about it. You know, most people have a spiritual inclination. It's hidden, it's layered, it's covered, but they do have it. Because what would be the point of preaching Krishna consciousness unless they were all devotees? Why would we try to convince people of something that they are not? Everybody's a devotee. Everybody's fallen from being Krishna conscious, and they are not now. So that's our incentive to preach, that these are people that have spiritual amnesia. Otherwise, what's the point? You know, someone else this person is not a devotee, it's never been a devotee, and why should we make him a devotee or help him become a devotee? It's because they are. Because they are forgotten. So it's our duty. So this is the lethargy that not only Arjuna had to overcome, but ourselves and those who we become in contact with. They have quite a bit of work to do. We have a lot of work to do, and they have a lot of work to do. Everybody has a lot of work. So let's get to it. Let's not procrastinate. So I think it's good up until now. I don't want to ruin it by going in circles. So shall we do some questions now? Then shall we look at the chat?
Sarvatma, usually we ask devotees to write the questions in the chat. Can you see the chat?
I can see the chat right now.
Okay, so if you have any questions, dear devotees, please write them in the chat. In the meantime, I have a question. How are we supposed, or how can we stay enthusiastic when we work or when we serve and do not have the experience, or the feeling at least, of success in some way in our service?
Depends how you consider success. Success is in your eyes in Krishna's, because in Krishna's eyes, whatever little effort you do is success, even if the result doesn't show. But again, the result is not up to us. You can actually, you have to use discrimination. You have to be intelligent when you do things. So you may not see the result. It's just like like parents, you have a small child, and to you, the child, it doesn't grow as fast as others see her grow. And they come and say, "Oh my God, you're so big." And parents, because of constant contact, they don't see that change. So to you, you have a particular vision that, okay, yeah, the child is growing, but it's not really growing very big or fast enough. But anybody from outside can see it. No, that's not true. It's growing like anything. It's a foot longer now. Yeah. And my girl is a foot longer and has a mustache. Didn't have last week. So there you go. This is our Krishna consciousness, our effort. It may seem small to us or insignificant, but Krishna sees any effort. He's actually, excuse me, he's actually fanning that desire. He's actually, Krishna is a lot more interested in what you do, what you are. Because he sees it as a sign of love, and he never forgets it. Whereas yeah, I did this, I did that, but it's not enough. Yeah, maybe in your eyes, but in Krishna's eyes, because he's so kind and generous, that any sign of love is full love to him. To us, may seem insignificant. To Krishna, it's finally, I've been waiting for millions of your lives until you actually show some love, until you actually revive your affection for me. And what else could I want? So Krishna is overwhelmed. We hear from the Damodarasam. That's a phrase that gets me every time when we read the translation. Is conquer and overwhelm with pure loving devotion. That's how Krishna feels. Conquer the unconquerable. Ajita. You can't conquer God. He has everything. What are you going to give? Not a pair of socks. What doesn't Krishna have? He has everything. But he doesn't have your love because that's a voluntary act. So when you show a little bit of love, he's conquered and overwhelmed. Of course, pure loving devotion will be a lot better than whatever we give him, but it's a start and it will grow. It can only grow. This is what happens in spiritual life. Anything that you put in, it will grow. It will stay the same until you put some more and it will grow. You lose nothing. Krishna will protect it, enthuse you, help you, encourage you, make it bigger. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you.
There's another question. My question is similar. Thank you for this class. Well, for me, it was right at the perfect moment in my life. My question pertains to how to maintain joy in service, to not appear so downtrodden. In this regard, why is Srila Prabhupada joyful when he went to America? Or is joy overrated? But we are by nature Sachidananda. Well, yes, by nature we are Sachidananda. By nature, some of us may have 4 arms, but not right now. So the joy, overrated, it is overrated. Krishna's joy is not overrated, but our joy is. Because Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that my pain making, if you become happy by me suffering, oh, let me suffer. That's all I want. We're not at that stage. And the gopis, of course, the example that Krishna had a headache and sent the cowherd boys to get the perfect remedy for a headache. As we know, it's the dust of lotus feet of the devotees. And the boys went to the Brahmins because they thought they're worshiping Krishna. That's all they do. They do puja and abhishek and all that stuff, and prayers and mantras. And when they said that, that Krishna needs the dust of your feet, they immediately went back to the rule. Oh, no, this is wrong. This is completely wrong. We're going to hell. I mean, they were thinking about themselves. They're thinking about the rules. They're thinking about themselves. They weren't thinking about Krishna. Whereas their wives were devotees and didn't have that pseudo-sophistication that everything has to be filtered through the rules and regulations and logic. They say, sure, take it. Who cares if we go to hell? as long as Krishna is happy and cured and not suffering. So it is, if you're not joyful, that's okay. That's okay. It's overrated. Some of the greatest music come out of very sad moments. Some of the greatest literature. Some of my best kirtans came out of, really deep suffering. So some of the nicest stuff comes out of suffering, not necessarily forced suffering, but that's how things come out, not just out of joy. Matter of fact, I don't like very much happy movies, happy music. Really, it kind of annoys me. I think it's better melancholy and sadness and longing. Yeah, I'll take that anytime. Yes, a cloudy day can produce a beautiful poem. A sunny day, you go surfing. You don't need a brain for that. We have another question here. Lecture Prabhu, can you say a little bit about Maya? Because you already said that Maya is also the devotee of Krishna. So it is just her task to hold us here in the material world. It is just our wish to stay here, and Krishna and Mahamaya are helping our strange wish to stay here. Well, you guys are all fluent, so you can get a copy of the Bhagavatam, go to the 12th canto, and read Markandeya Rishi's story. Markandeya Rishi had the wrong idea, maybe the right idea, but it was the wrong question. When he was granted a wish, what do you want? He said, I want to see how Maya works. Oh my God. I don't know. Have any of you read that section of Markandeya Rishi? Oh my God, there's such a trick. You have to read that. This is, he wanted to know how Maya worked, and he got more than what he bargained for. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm going to force you to go and get the 12th canto of the Bhagavatam and read the story of Markandeya Rishi. It's not very long, it's a chapter. And it's fantastic. It's fantastic how, you don't play around with Maya. Yeah, Maya has it's like the warden of a prison. The warden has certain behavior when he's in prison, but he's not like that with his family, hopefully. He's tough and lockdowns and punishments and rules and bossing people around, maybe screaming and denying people's rights and the whole thing. Because he's a warden of a prison. That's his job. He does that for a living. But hopefully, when he's with his 5-year-old kid, and the kid said, can you take me to volleyball practice? The guy said, I took you 5 years ago, and that's it. That's what you get. No, it's affectionate to the family, because they have nothing to do with the job. So Maya has her own life, but as a job. At the job, just performs it in Krishna-consciousness, because that's what Krishna wants. Actually, it's not even what Krishna wants, it's what we want. We actually had the wrong desire, and now we're paying for it. We do have free will, but our free will is limited, and we wanted a completely different interpretation of it. And now we're paying for it. And you have to finish your prison sentence. Of course, there's also the pardon from the government, or the pardon from the president, like Kripa Sida. But don't wait for the phone call. It's my advice. Don't wait for the phone call to be spare at the time that you put in an electric chair or the lethal injection. We are in the world of Maya, and we're gonna suffer because we are in prison, and Durga means you can't move, can't go anywhere, just like with the virus. You gotta stay home. But it doesn't matter if you have, a nice home and riches and it's a nice place, good weather, whatever it is, or you live in a hellish place because it's prison. You're still inside the compound of prison. Just like if you are in a jail, prison, and you're in solitary confinement, or you have a nice cell all by yourself, and you have a table, a desk with a little vase and flower, and the window faces the yard. You're still in prison. You haven't gone anywhere. So where you go to the highest planet, even to the planet of Brahma, still in prison. Yeah. The planet of Brahma is just basically the window facing the yard and the little vase with flower and the desk. That's it. And here you're kind of an intermediate. You get a smaller place with no garden view. But it's still the same. We both have to get out. And the fastest way to get out is to help others get out. Yeah. If you're planning on escape, try to make sure everybody goes with you. That was the spirit of Prahlad Maharaj, Vasudeva Datta. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if I get out, as long as everybody else does. That's an elevated Mahabharata. The Mahabharata thinks everybody's serving Krishna, like me. I'm the only one who's not serving Krishna. And the Kanishta thinks I am serving Krishna, everybody else is. See the difference? So we have to be at least middle class to see that, yeah, we are doing a little something, but everybody else is doing too. So we have to, whatever level we're at, we have to help. Is that okay? Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Sarvatma, I would like to ask another question, if that's okay with you. In the purport, Prabhupada said it was not Arjuna's duty to think about or to question the order of the Lord, but his only duty was to follow his order. What does it mean for us? Because often we receive Krishna's orders or Krishna's instructions through other living entities or through means which open for our interpretation, or that is there a room of sense and to question what we perceive as Krishna's desires, or should we just, whatever a devotee tells us or whatever we read somewhere, just follow blindly and literally and trust that that will be Krishna's desire for us to do?
I think it's the devotees are intelligent. They should discriminate if the instructions are coming. First of all, Krishna makes it pretty obvious when it's coming from him. He kind of presents it with neon signs, and this happens repeatedly. Many type of signs come into place when it's Krishna's will. In the case of Arjuna is a military man, so you know how the military acts. Just bark orders and you follow. And in the military, the last order is the only one that counts. It doesn't matter what was before that. The last order is the only one that counts. Like ceasefire means, if 10 minutes ago they told you open fire, and then they say ceasefire, that's it, it's over. What about, hey, you said fire at will just a few moments ago. Yeah, but that was then. So in the case of Arjuna, he is basing his service on giving the right order and doing the right thing, and things have to be done in the spur of the moment. That's how Kshatriyas work. Kshatriyas, they have a mixture of goodness and passion. So passion really plays a big role in the life of Kshatriya. Whereas Brahmins, they have more time to chew about things. But the Kshatriya doesn't have time to think, so it's basically based on gotta do this now. Do it. as far as ourselves, how do we take things? Well, I don't think we'll have any problem discriminating, because most of the time we are reluctant to do anything, even if it comes from Krishna. So we're going to give ourselves plenty of time to think about, should I do this? Should not I? Maybe I shouldn't. The problem is to implement. How to implement? That's up to us, and that may take a little bit of intelligence. How to do it? Like, I don't know. There are many, so many examples. For example, there was a time, a long time ago. I inherited a center, a Christian center, and there were 5 people that will attend the Sunday feast, let's say. And I kicked out 3. That was my first decree as temple president. I got rid of 3 of them. To 2, I told them not to come back. The other one, I said, you can come back on Monday morning through the back door, and if there are any leftovers from the Sunday feast, you will get some, but don't show your face. Because these were crazy people, people with dubious intentions. So you have to build a place from the ground up. You have to have a good foundation. And one of the other person that used to come, it may sound very draconian, very dramatic, but it was like that. I had to clean the house in order to receive proper guests. So one of the persons that will come occasionally every month or so, well, was a girl that didn't have, I mean, I could see it was a devotee, potential devotee, but it wasn't ready. My guess was that she hadn't suffered enough. We certainly know that she would be practicing Krishna-consciousness for any length of time, but without suffering, you will never arrive to the conclusion that this world is miserable and I need something else. So she hadn't arrived to that conclusion. So I had to, in spite of my youth and passion, I had to just swallow it up and not say anything, not unload my style of preaching onto her, because she wasn't ready to receive it. So I had to wait for 2 years. 2 years, until the sign was very clear that she was ready. She was suffering and so on, so I took her aside and I just, obviously when you're a preacher and you have to wait 2 years to give your sermon, you have a lot to say. So I just unloaded on the poor girl. And she became a devotee. But I'm convinced, maybe I'm an illusion here, but I'm convinced that if I spoke to her a day before I did, she would have taken it really different. So it was a question of timing. And this is what discrimination means. You just wait for the right moment. Even if you get the sign from heaven, doesn't matter. It won't not apply unless you have the right reception. Like you can have your soapbox, you can put a little box and stand up and talk about Krishna-consciousness in the middle of town. People will think you're crazy. You have to wait until the conditions are created and the person is receptive. So I think it's, these are all related topics, but there's no joy, what do you do? The message is not clear, what do you do? There's, these people are interfering with my program, what do you do? This is all related. This is a question of intelligence and timing. You have to actually separate, see what's right, and what's right for one person is wrong for the other one. You can't do it. Like some people can take extreme heat, and some people become overwhelmed. It's same with spices. Somebody can eat the hottest chilies, and the other person cannot have black pepper or ginger. So it's different. And Krishna consciousness has a twist for everybody. Everybody's a devotee, everybody comes more or less. You know, if you broaden the categories, you can say, you know, everybody comes within those 4 categories that Krishna says: suffering, need, curiosity, and thirst for knowledge. But there are different approaches and different remedies and different doses. You cannot. I'll tell you a story that Prabhupada told about. Remember the story of a vet and his apprentice, who was well, it's good to hear anyway, even if you all know it. There was a veterinarian that had an apprentice, and so the apprentice was kind of taking notes and seeing what the vet was doing. And one day they called him because there was a horse that had a growth in the neck. So the vet asked for a stick, and he hit the horse on the neck really hard. And the horse jumped and kicked around, but then he was fine, and the growth was gone. So the apprentice thought, oh, I can do that. So he opened his own practice. He would go around with a stick hitting animals and killing them. And then eventually, with tail between his legs, he went back to the vet and said, I don't understand. I did the same thing you did. And the animals died. He said, yeah, but he couldn't understand is that the horse ate a melon, a whole melon. It was stuck in his throat. So all I did was to break it with a stick so he could swallow the pieces and not the whole melon. So this is what happens, that we need training and discrimination. And there's always, that's why the association of devotees is so important, so essential, because you may not see what others see, just like the growth of your child. You may not see, but they may see. And there was once I was giving a Bhagavatam class in Vrindavan, the Krishna Bhagavan Mandir, and a devotee asked me, how do you get rid of your false ego? And I remember, I said, well, do you live in the ashram? He said, yeah. Oh, then don't worry about it. Everybody else will tell you what to do. Because you live surrounded by devotees who are seeing every one of your faults, and they will constantly tell you about it. So you're fine. Your false ego will eventually dissolve if you stay in this situation. So don't get upset. Don't get irritated by other people telling you this is wrong, that's wrong. Or try to understand that Krishna is speaking to you not just through your mind, but through your intelligence. He's speaking through the means of others. You can actually hear Krishna. That's why, an advanced devotee sees Krishna everywhere. Any more? Anybody else like to hear the lack of wisdom to continue? Okay, should we stop here?
Thank you very much, Sarvatma.
You're welcome.
Very happy that you managed to join us all the way from still in California, as I understand.
Still in California. We'll actually, we have a container with our stuff outside the garage door, and it's going to be picked up on Monday. And then a couple of days later, we're going to drive to them. But we can, if you want me to do a repeat performance, I'll be happy to. Just let me know when, and we'll do it from there, as long as it is.
That would be very nice. Thank you.
Thank you to all.
All the best. Hare Krishna.
Cheers.
Haribo.